24 years, this guy's been one of my closest friends. And for the first time this morning, I got very uncomfortable because I saw that he wanted to now dress like me.
It's all about duplication. That's what this business is.
But no, the thing is that Kevin and I have been working with our teams for the last 5 years now, really building out great mobile and responsive websites that have been helping and been actively building up the sales within the organizations as well as with our consumer base. But when we started on this project, we wanted to start with our unfranchised owners first.
Yep.
And of course, let me get the slides. There we go. So we wanted to start with unfranchised mobile. And what we did was we built a site for our best consumer, our unfranchised owners.
Yep.
And what we did was we wanted to make sure that you could sell the products and that you were an advocate of the products. Having a problem with my clicker.
There we go.
Okay. So we wanted to make sure you could sign people up. So now think about this. You're at a restaurant, you're talking to your prospect. No longer do you have to say, well, where is my computer? You can pull out your tablet or your phone, and you can actually physically sign somebody up in this business. We made ordering tickets that much easier by making sure that it was only a couple clicks, not that you had to actually remember a code. I mean, who remembers a code, then goes to another page, and then has to type it in? That was 1999. This is 2016. You have to be able to click and get to that product detail page, as well as reports. We wanted to make sure that you had the optimal reports available at all times. Now, the other big key for us, we wanted to make sure that every market country had access to this. So therefore, we made sure that we changed it up so every single market country has unfranchised mobile available to them. And as we build out new countries, they will also have it so they have the power within their fingertips. But you know what, Kevin? It didn't stop with just unfranchise. We had to think about our custom mini websites, didn't we?
Yeah, we have a lot of brands that we have to take into consideration. And so we started pegging them off one by one. And with that, we'll start talking about GeneSnip. Now, GeneSnip, I actually love this site because of its simplicity. And what's great about it is, your navigation is actually built right into the header. And if you see the animation on the site, it does a great job of actually showing where you are on each section of the site. And it's all on a single page, which kind of makes it really convenient. And at the top, that header there will actually indicate, as you can see with the purple, it's actually designated that you're down in that section of the site. But what I love most about this is it's all on a single page, and it's the parallax effect that it has. And it's really kind of a beautiful thing to see because it makes it very clean and simplistic to use. But, we didn't just stop there. We obviously have other beautiful sites that we had to take into consideration, and that's Motives. Motives, the team worked really hard to have a beautiful desktop site, and we were tasked with being able to put it in a mobile form factor that Lauren would like. Not an easy task, not an easy task.
But I mean, the one thing about Motives, real quick, is that why it became so important for us to get a mobile version was we were losing significant sales. Because what was happening was our 2.5 million users of Instagram were not checking Instagram on their desktop. They were checking it on their phone. And so when they saw one of the artists have a great picture and they wanted to purchase that, they were taken to this non-user-friendly experience. And so they were having to pinch and poke and every which else, type thing on that site. So when we actually launched this, actually 50% of the sales from the desktop was actually converted over to mobile sales as well.
So
because we started getting that engagement.
It's very mobile-oriented, and it's very visual.
Right.
And one of our other brands that's very visual is TLS. Now, a lot of you may be seeing this for the first time because we actually released this about 4 months ago, so it's kind of its true first public unveiling. And I actually love this site because of all the visual elements to it. It promotes a very healthy, active lifestyle. One of my favorite features on this actually is the testimonials, because Steve, what does a better job of selling a product than being able to see how someone else has benefited from that product?
No doubt.
And it really does a great job with the lifestyle header there, so you can actually see all the beautiful imagery, and it actually helps you sell the product itself. Now, we didn't just stop there, though.
We didn't stop there. We had to think about, obviously, our #1 brand. Most of us bring people in the business because of the brand Isotonix. OPC3, multivitamin, making sure that people, what they need, the essentials that they need, they get from Isotonix. So what we did was we totally recreated this. And we launched Isotonix.com. And what we did was we gave this out to everybody because we wanted everybody to be using this as their draw into the Isotonic brand. So what was happening was we branded it with the purple OPC3. We made sure that everywhere you looked, there was proper branding. Another feature that has really been a home run on this has been the custom blends, the custom cocktail. Because what's happening is that it's taking them through. People are adding in the elements that they want, and it's actually showing people through a nice graph whether they're meeting their vitamin C, their vitamin E, their vitamin D, etc. So they know, one, when to stop, and two, when they have all the essentials that whether it's their doctor, their trainer, or themselves feel like that they need.
And there was a lot of work put into that custom cocktail section.
Yes.
The team worked very hard on that piece.
That's right. But one of the things that we got a lot of complaints about was our Nutri-Metrix site. We got a lot of complaints from the doctors who were basically saying that, well, I've got my client, my patient in this office with me, and I'm trying to sell them a product. And I'm sending them off to the mobile phone because that's what they have access to. And they're clicking on it, and it's not the best user experience. So they were having a hard time getting their patients to convert over to the website, so they were having to carry a lot of products on hand. Well, we wanted to solve that issue. So this past week, we launched a brand new Nutri-Metrix site.
And I think you guys can tell that it's a much more beautiful site. And like Steve mentioned, it's mobile friendly too. So when you have that traffic coming to the site from a phone, which most people check their email from, you're now getting a mobile feature. So what we did was actually we featured the brands and the products right on the homepage so that it's quick and simple to get to. We have these animations that are actually built in that you can actually, with the ability to hover over them, you can actually add the product to the cart right from the home page, but you can also kind of dig into the product detail page with the Learn More section if you want to. You know, we did this purely for the reason of if people are running out of time, they want to be able to get in and out quickly, and being able to do that from the home page benefits.
And the thing about it is that how many times have you gone onto a website, it showed you a beautiful banner that you wanted to buy the product, then it took you off to a landing page promoting the product even more, then you had to click on it again to get to the product detail page, so you're already 3 clicks into it before you can even add to cart. So we wanted to make sure that if the doctor or if whoever is sitting there saying, okay, you need OPC3 in your life, they can click on it right from that home screen, add it to the cart, go to their cart, and instantly make that checkout.
Yep. And we focus a lot on user experience, and that's things like that we hear back from the field that we take are very important to us. But we also have to account for people that search maybe not just from the home page and aren't quite familiar with the product, but just general search. So we have the beautiful new search page with your histograms off to the left-hand side. And of course, this is also done in mobile as well.
Right,
because it's all about building convenience for the customer. You got to be able to serve them from whatever device they actually want to come to your site on. So once you're in the search page, your next logical step is the product detail page. And here what you'll see is, for those of you that are familiar with Isotonix, it's very similar to Isotonix, and we're trying to standardize that process across all of our sites so that the users get accustomed to our branding, to know how our user experience actually works and interacts. One of my favorite things about this actually is the way the product SKUs are set up, and that you can visually see both options that are available, pricing as well as the associated serving size. It's all easily laid out and appealing.
And what's going to happen is that as we come out with more product pages for your mini websites, they're going to mirror each other. So when people are on Isotonix, whether they're on Nutri-Metrix, Motives, whatever, they're going to feel like that they're on a shop brand or a Market in America brand. They're not going to have to say, well, where was add to cart? Where was the product information? Where was this? Where was that? They're all going to be consistent.
Yep. But, we do a lot more than just mobile websites.
We did a lot more than just mobile websites. We wanted to go into the app world. And the first thing we had to do is that Joe Boyer came to us last convention and said, we have an issue. We have an issue because we had these MP3 players, and not many people are using them. In fact, they're not very user-friendly.
It's true.
The MP4 player, they were cheap, they could never be updated. It just was awkward. And Apple went to the iPod, and they finally discontinued the iPod. So what happened was that they took the iPod and they discontinued it. So why don't we discontinue those and make sure that we could put it on a device that everybody would use?
Yep.
So of course we launched UnFranchise Media app. And what this was all of your audios all together, all countries, so that you could listen to the power of knowledge. You could feed your brain with all the audios that you could get from. And we started with just making sure that we could convert everything we currently had over to the new stuff, making sure that we deleted presentations that were no longer valid, making sure that stuff that was relevant was up at the top, etc. But if that wasn't enough, we wanted to make sure we made it even easier. There's 1,000 audios on this file, so we wanted to add filtering. So if you click on this little button right here, you can actually sort by ABC, filter by categories, start your downloads, etc. But there's a brand new feature we just added. Now, when most people think about life, it interrupts us an awful lot throughout the day. We're in a car, we're driving, we're listening to an audio tape. Well, we go to the grocery store. We go pick up the kids. How do we find recents? So how do we go back to where we were when we had to stop and get out of the car or stop running? We added this feature called recents to where you could easily pull up what you were last playing. And not only could you just pull up what you were last playing, you could actually resume from the same spot that you last went to. Now, why was this so important? Well, last time I checked, we got a few presentations that are over an hour. And to sit there and have to find your way back to where you were was a cumbersome process. So we wanted to make this easy for everybody. We're also adding a brand new thing. UnFranchise owners said, we want to help out in this process. We are already giving out our list. I know that Tom Holden, David Whited, they're big on audio downloads. And so they wanted to be able to say, man, I'm going to send out my audio list to everybody. So what happens if you get a notification that says, David Whited's audio of the week to all of your users, or Elizabeth Weber, or all the different players? What happens when JR gets into it and sends out his audios of the month? This is all in the app right now as we speak.
And the purpose of all this is to increase engagement. Obviously, the more you get engaged with the product, the more likely you are to succeed. And so that's what we're trying to help you guys with in this whole process.
Right. We also add the brochures. We add the brochures to allow you so that every new distributor knows that they have access to this.
Yep.
But that wasn't enough, Kevin.
No.
We built this product on technology, but we needed the human element. We needed the UnFranchise owner to be a part of this. So what we did was we went out and recruited ourselves a top UnFranchise owner to help us build a better and better, bigger and better product. David Whited is an executive director with the company. He's an advisory council member.
Yep.
He's a $1 Million Club member, a 9-time President's Challenge, and the #1 consumer of Market America audio content in the history of the UnFranchise. He came to us and said, let me help you make a better product. When David comes in and says that, you let him do that. So please, give a warm welcome to David Whited.
Actually,
What's up?
they can't find them.
Oh.
So we just got word. We just got word that I believe Mr. Whited is okay. Mr. Whited is coming. He is currently at the moment unavailable. So we're just going to proceed. Thank you, David. It's okay. We have more to show anyway.
Right. You know, he's going to, you know, the thing about it is that when we built this, we had a very short timeline. And so we had to make sure we dumped everything into it. And so, you know, it's really good to have a UFO on board to help champion this product with us.
It'll bring home a lot of what you guys are after, and really what it's going to help with is make sure the content is more valuable. You know, because at the end of the day, if it's not valuable content, which is what David wants to focus on, it's something that you guys aren't going to use. So really with this process, though, we didn't want to just stop there because, you know, when you think about the whole thing and the transition of being a UFO, you actually have the option, you know, the upfront.
Okay, we're good now.
Oh.
All right, guys, once again, David Wyden.
All right. Close. No different than the rest of you. I get nervous like everybody else.
It
I
happens.
still suck in when I enter a room. They're no different than anybody else in the room, right? So, 1998, I went to the airport one day to pick up Andy Webb because he was coming into town to do a local seminar for us. I lived in Wichita, Kansas. I got out of my car, went inside, picked up Andy at the baggage claim, got in the car, and I'm driving towards the ticket booth to pay for my parking. The audio is playing in my car softly, and it's JR talking. It's quiet in the car, and I look out the corner of my eye, and I'm getting ready to pay for my parking. Andy's talking along with JR, word for word.
Yep.
So I pay for my parking, and I start talking along with JR, word for word, and for 2 minutes, driving down Kellogg Road in Wichita, Kansas, we're both talking word for word without missing an or a from JR perfectly, word for word. And I thought to myself, you know, people are buying tickets to come here to hear Andy train, and they're looking for a key, they're looking for a shortcut, they're looking for how can I get where Andy is, what's his great line. If they had a video of what just happened in the car, that's really all they needed to know. That could have been the best seminar ever. Andy's amazing. You need to come see him if he ever does a training in your area. When we started our business, I was in Colorado Springs all by myself, and I luckily had a very tough sponsor, a mentor, my older brother Kelly. He was my tour mentor, and he gave me some great advice. I was struggling with a lot of challenges. Most things that came against me were bigger than I was, bigger than where I was mentally at the time. And he said, David, you should read this book. And I told him, man, I don't really like reading. He says, do you like being broke? I'm like, okay, it's a good point. Where should I start? I began that process, but the easier thing for me to implement was audios, and they became my lifeline. Audios were the key to me getting ahead in this business because they say your income is going to be the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. The 5 people I spent the most time with were broke. They struggled. You know, they complained. They had problems. They weren't going anywhere in life. I had to begin to transform my external world by the renewing of my mind. I had to change my association, and I did it by having a personal mentor with J.R. Reidinger. And I had him with me every time. If my car turned on, J.R. came out the speakers, and it wasn't very long down the road until when I began to speak to people, J.R. began coming out of my mouth. And I'm so thankful for this company because they've adapted with the tectonic plate shifts underneath them of going from audio cassettes that we used to pay $5 a piece for. Mm-hmm. You know, at the end of our first year, I was donating plasma when I started this business 3 times a week. You would get $15, $20, and $25 when you did it 3 times in 1 week. I'd go show the plan with bruises in my arms. I had to roll down my sleeves to cover up all the bruising. And I was sharing with somebody how they could make a 6-figure income. Mm-hmm. But the only way I had the ability to do that is because I was sitting on the bench with the homeless people, donating plasma, reading James Allen with my mind in another place while my body was in a place I didn't want to be, renewing my mind. Then I would get in my car, and I would listen to these audios all the way to my next appointment, and I was no longer a broke 23-year-old kid that struggled in every way. I was a successful millionaire. I was on my way to a 6-figure income, and I would get out of my car, and I would tell JR, my personal consultant, I would literally say this. I'd say, JR, hold that thought. I'm going to be back in a little bit. You just wait here. And I would go into the grocery store. I'd go in to show the plan, but everywhere I went, I had JR playing. I'm going to use an example with you real quick because a lot of you guys spend a lot of money, you spend a lot of time and effort to be here, but the biggest breakthroughs, the things that are going to cause the biggest explosion in your business truly are free. It's free to say hi. It's free to smile. It's free to be nice. It's free to read a book. Everybody has access to book knowledge and information today, and it's free now with the audio player and the updates that they've done. I mean, I would come over and hug you again if it wouldn't be so weird. These guys listen to the needs we have for the audio player, and I don't even want to get into the updates that they've done it in the last 48 hours, but it's incredible. And I challenge you to make this a part of your daily routine, because you can't live from major event to build your belief. It's the daily processes. Okay, so here's the example I want to give you. I didn't see when I started, so what I got?
What's that?
I've got one time for a story.
You got 4 minutes.
4 minutes. You guys ready? I could give you a day's training here real quick, so don't get hurt. The majority of the things you're thinking about right now, the feeling of the chair against your body, the awareness of my voice, the thinking, everything you're doing right now is probably about 10% of your mental capacity. 80 to 90% of what's going on is on a subconscious level. You're not even aware of it. You think you want to become a director, but your behavior doesn't line up with it. You think you want to lose weight and do transitions, but you're eating pizza at midnight. You know, how do I know that? Because I've eaten pizza at midnight. So you're battling against this subconscious level of thoughts, and I don't know exactly how this works, but I can tell you it works because we changed our lives. We've changed the lives of dozens of million-dollar earners in our organization, and this room is full of people that are doing it as well. There's an example by a guy named, I think his name is Vince Pacenti. He wrote a book, but a lot of people use the same example of an ant sitting on the back of an elephant. In your conscious mind, the thoughts that you're thinking right now are like that ant. And that ant may say, I'm going to be a director, and he's walking south. But if he's on top of an elephant that's going north, it's kind of irrelevant. And the only way that I know, besides changing the words that come out of your mouth, and that's a lot easier if you begin to change the words that are coming into your ears, because you're probably not surrounded by people like JR that are telling you can do it all the time. But if you use the tools these guys give you, you can wake up in the morning, the first voice you hear is of belief, it's of encouragement, it's of hope, and you begin programming your subconscious mind, and all of a sudden, you're accidentally doing the behaviors, you're taking the actions, you're approaching people, people are bringing the business up to you because you're so programmed to be a what? A hopeless success.
That's right.
You're programmed to do it, and it happens because you're so swept up in a current of a future reality that is in conflict with your current situation. And if you listen to enough audios and you start to believe what you're hearing, you will change your current circumstances to match that future reality. And before you know it, I remember one day I was sitting, I used to work at a car wash. It was one of my extra jobs, and I dry cars, and anything I could do to make money, it was legal. And I remember one day I was sitting there talking to Jackie Blasco on the phone. She was a six-figure earner in our organization, watching somebody dry off my Lexus. And it hit me then. I didn't even realize how quick it had happened. But I became somebody different, and it didn't happen at one event. It happened by a daily process, a daily method of operation using the tools that they've given you. You guys, they've given you everything, but you've got to use it. Thank you.
UnFranchise prospecting, feeding the mind. Now we got to get the people in the funnel.
Yeah, so you have the transition. You know, you have to learn as much as you can, but then you also have to actually go out there and do something about it. So what we've built for you is a prospecting tool. And in its first iteration, we set it up so that it was basically digitizing all of our current great assets that we have and being able to give it to you so that you can take, in this example, a tablet, and take the tablet and go to someone's house with either Apple TV or a Chromecast, whatever the case may be, and actually be able to do a presentation in front of them with the most simplest of tools. But we also included business building materials so that you can actually obviously have access to all the materials you would need while you're on the go. One of the great things, though, about this is actually you can sit there and view it, but imagine a time where you're on a plane, you don't have any Wi-Fi connection, or whatever the case may be. Maybe you're at somebody's house and they don't want to give you the key to their Wi-Fi because they don't trust you. But you can actually download the actual presentation to your device so that you can show it to them at any given point. It's a great feature. But we also thought, well, while we have somebody engaged in the application, we also have all these great videos that are out there. And why send them off to YouTube or somewhere else when they're already using this tool to actually build their business? Why don't we put the videos in there as well? It's nice.
Yeah.
But, you know, you keep going, and we've, in our most recent iteration, have actually added the ability to add prospects. Now, what this is kind of our CRM tool. It's the ability for you to put information in there about a given individual and tag them so you know that maybe they're interested in TLS, maybe they're interested in motives. You know, you can put notes in there. Maybe it's about their family. It's a one-stop spot for all of your information to be able to prospect someone. But we wanted to be able to actually obviously share all this content with a potential prospect. So you have your contact information here, and here we're talking to Elliot Stabler, you know, if anybody knows from Law & Order. We also have built in the ability to, so you share the content with Elliot in this case, which is great in and of itself, but if you can imagine where, if you've ever shared anything before, you share it with them and you have no idea whether they've engaged with it or not. Well, this most recent feature that we've added is something that, you know, we've talked to Andrew and Jim about for a while now, and it's the ability to actually have them view the link that you've sent to them, whether it be via email or text, but then not only that, you get a notification back saying that the individual is actually engaged with the information, so you have a great way to follow up with them, and it's no longer a cold calling thing. You know, you actually know that they've opened the item and they've actually watched it. So it is a nice feature, yes way. And for those of you that have smartwatches, it's also available on your smartwatch as well. So you can see, I actually viewed the shopping annuity business building materials from JR.
And I mean, you know what I love about this is that, you know, I always think about back in the day when JR and other people, they used to give out audio tapes. And they would say, and then they would come back a week later and say, did you listen to this audio tape? And they'd be like, yeah, I loved how Frank Kiefer showed the plan. I loved how he did that. And then it was a blank tape. So he could know that they didn't actually listen to the tape. So now what's happened is that we've made sure that you could actually see when that happens.
Have a seat.
I apologize. My
Have a
knee
seat.
is giving out on me, so
okay.
therefore, I got to just sit down for a second.
No worries. So we have this, but, you know, my understanding is, you know, you can actually use this in California, which you just recently moved to.
Listen, I've had the privilege over the last 2 months to be in California, to work with the Monterey team. And, you know, I left a great team here in Greensboro. But I gained a great team with great people, you know, in Monterey that I'm really thrilled to be working with on a daily basis. And, you know, one thing I want to do before I go into any of this is really give a shout out to the former COO, Vince Hunt, because he's still so actively involved. And he's been like the perfect person to help me in this transition. But you know what? When we did this, we wanted to make sure that this was really the first responsive site that we had. This is the first responsive site that we had, but we're not going to go through a lot of the features. What we're going to do is just highlight some of the things that are specific to the application. One of those things that's on desktop, mobile, etc., was the big selling point within shop.com is what? That they can save money and they can earn cash back. So we wanted to make sure that people could see that over $23 million in cash back has been earned. So this counter is updated every minute, so it's changing rapidly so that your customer, when they go to the site, it's not just, 2 to 50% cash back. It's a real $23 million that's coming out of the company's pocket into your customer's pocket. Yes. But we're going to talk about the Shop app now, too. The specific shop.com application. Now, one of the great things about the Shop application was that we heard that for the desktop side, we want the recommendations. We want all the different customer features. But what gets lost is Market America products. Where do you find your OPC3? Where do you find your, Mochitonics, etc.? So what we do is within the application is that we show all the Market America branded products right there on the home page of the application so they can go find OPC quickly, put it in their shopping cart. They can go in, find the TLS 21-day challenge, put it in the shopping cart, boom, right from there. But we want to talk about a little bit about another feature within the shop.com application, Shop Local. Now, Mark talked about Shop Local at World Conference, and he's going to go through the majority of the site. here, here after we get off. But we just want to talk about two specific things related to the application. One is location-based. You can actually go on, when you go on, because the phone recognizes your location, it's going to automatically pre-populate the zip code so that when you say 27406, because you don't know what the zip code is for Greensboro, it's going to show you everything local to your area. But we wanted instant notifications and instant gratification. So what did we do? We know that people love to see notifications when it comes to their banks. You get every time a charge is made for Amex, every time a charge is made for Chase. You know that that happened. Why is that important? One, I know how much I spend, and two, I know if fraudulent activity happens. Well, when you go into a Subway that's a shop local partner, how in the world do you know that you earn cash back off that order? Well, we changed that. So now, every time you use a shop local partner, you're going to get a notification saying, congratulations from shop local, you just earned cash back from Subway. Do you like that? Now we're going to take it a step further in 30 days. What happens if you're 5 miles away from that Subway and it knows that it's noon and it's lunchtime and you don't know what to eat? What happens if it automatically sends you a notification that says you're near a Subway? Head on in for 1% cash back on your order. And I can promise you, this is one of the best tools to get new customers to your shop.com business. Why is that? Kevin goes to the restaurant. He eats at the restaurant. He gets that notification. Guess what happens? Everybody around him says, well, who's texting you? Oh, I just got 5% cash back from this restaurant. You did what? How do I do that? That's the power of the notifications. That's Shop Local. And again, Mark's going to tell you much more about it. But that's not it. We had to think about what this weekend's about. The shopping annuity. That's why we're here, right? So we had to incorporate the shopping annuity into a mobile application. So Kevin, tell us a little bit about that.
Of course, yeah, because when we're here to build our shopping annuity, and that's the whole point of this weekend, like Steve alluded to, we've actually had the shopping app out there, the shop annuity app out there in its first iteration. But as you can see here on the screen, we've actually got the annuity that's actually already been started for Q4. And that's the core functionality that we built into the 2.0 version. It's actually it's the same process as the desktop, but it's in cohesion. So actually, if you started on the desktop, you can complete it on mobile. If you complete it on mobile, you can finish it on the desktop.
That's right.
And it's really kind of convenient because, like we alluded to with this whole presentation, is life happens. You know, you don't ever know what's going to interrupt you, but you know that you need to complete goals. And it's really about making everything that we have accessible to anyone whenever they need it.
And so the great thing I love about this specifically is that the assessment can take some time to go through it. It's not just a simple 5-minute go through because you really want to do your best assessment to transfer your spending into earning. And therefore, so it's going to give you the flexibility to do that at any given time you want.
And you can go through all the same great steps that you have on the desktop with time value money and your exclusive brands, your majors. But then it also goes into regular spending and annual spending. And doing it all on a mobile form factor, you know, it was a challenging process, but I think we did a pretty good job. I mean, I think it came out pretty well. You know,
that's right.
Trevor and the team managed to
did a great job.
Managed to do a great job. So, but really, when you have this whole process, you come in, you finally get your projections, just like you're all used to at this point. But again, the nice thing is it's tied to what you see on the desktop. And what you'll also see coming in the next iteration is we'll be adding in the recommendations for stores as well as products in the next few weeks. But, you know, there's
one more thing. One more thing. It's all about branding in this business, right? You want to brand your business so that you attract the customers that you want. And when I was recently at the Apple convention, everything was about these little guys. Emojis. Apple actually made the comment that our next generation is going to know more about emojis and how to spell words. As sad and true that is. Well, what better way to brand yourself than with emojis. So coming in the next month or so, we will have specific emojis for your shop.com business. So imagine sending out this tweet to your people, priming the pump with the shopping annuity, teaching people to earn cash back through your shop.com portal with emojis. Guys, it's coming. We are only scratching the surface. Everything is about to get that much better. And it's because of the help of you as our UnFranchise owners, teaming up with us, the development team. We are going to build products that change people's lives. It's just inevitable. God bless you, and I love you.